This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. Hope everybody's having a good day. I have a fun project that I did that I thought was worth sharing, and it has to do with this picture of this pillow, and that's where we're going to go. And I did two things with it that were really fun, and one that I didn't even think about doing. And one of those is when I make my pillows, I always, you always see that I make a sample. Well, this is like one of the samples that I did for making a quilt. Well, then at that time, I just changed it into a pillow. And so I'd have this great collection of already done pillows that I had to quilt them, and then I put a back on them. But you can notice that none of my pillows had binding on it. And I really like binding sometimes. And that's where I'm going to go with what we're going to do. And we're going to go back to the yo-yos. I love this because I have the whole box of yo-yos. And here is the basic pillow for this project. And all the dimensions will be there as a resource. But this, you can take any size yo-yos that you make, and you can mix and match different sizes. And on this one, the directions call for a 15-inch square, and I misread the directions, so the one that you're going to see that I finished, was 14 inches, but it doesn't matter because it worked out just great. And the first step that I did was I found a good color that I liked that would go with some of the yo-yos, and then I set the yo-yos out. And this is exactly the way I did the first one. I probably make a few changes in the next, like everybody does. But that's part of being creative when you're quilting. And then I took some material, that adhesive that you can put a drop underneath each one so they will stay. And then I don't have to worry about pinning it and then having the pin get stuck in the thread stuck in the pins. And then I put my batting on there. One of the nice things about this is it's a great way to use up some of that batting that you have left, because I just went ahead and did a zigzag stitch down through there, and I used two nice pieces, and then they stopped. But what I always found made my pillows so nice was that I'd have a second piece of fabric, and even I just use my junkie. If you have something that you call junkie or unused that you're not going to use, it's going to be hidden inside. So it's a great thing. And I just happen to have white because I like to see the back when quilting's done. And so this one is the 15-inch one. And then this is a pocket pillow. So it's going to have two parts for the back. The piece that's going to go first is 8.5 by 15. And you fold down one edge, the top edge, an inch, and then turn it under and hem it. And a second piece is 11 by 15. And this time you turn the piece where you're going to seam is going to be at the bottom. But, as long as you take one of your long edges, turn it under an inch, and then fold it to make a nice hem, then that's going to make the pocket for what you do. And they did a nice job. They put buttons in there. But I have to be honest, I have not made a button hole in probably 20 years. Even with my new machine, which probably does it really fast. So that gives me an idea of something to work on. But I also like Velcro or snaps. Or you don't have to. It just depends on your material. This is going to be a light material. It's probably going to have something to hold it shut. All right, and then it called for a 14-inch pillow. Sorry. Cushion, and I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I went online, and I found a 14-inch, and I said, well, that should fit. I should be able to make it fit in there. And what's so funny is I just loved it. When it came, there were 4 cushions, and they were smashed down in this box because they had taken the air out of it. And I said, oh my gosh, what have I done? And you take the cushion and you throw it in the dryer and fluff it, or put it with some tennis balls and fluff it, or just fluff it yourself for 15 minutes. And I've started stuffing it in the one that I did, and it's really neat. So you'll need at least a 14-inch to go in there. All right, and then here's fun, because you actually go ahead and make a binding strip like you would for your quilt. And so you can probably see where I'm going. But let me tell you, I had to read the directions a couple times because I was just missing it. I just kept missing what she did, because I saw the binding. And at first I said, well, 2.5 inches seems pretty wide for the binding. And I almost cut it down, but actually 2.5 inches is perfect for the binding. And it was like about I put 68 inches on here for you, because if each side's 15 times the 4, that gives you the 60. And then you want some turning corners and everything. And that brings you to the next part of what I did. You know, I'm always drawing, doing my things. And a lot of that I really realize is because I don't want to mess up something that I've already done if I can help it. So I actually just took a piece of 14-inch paper, and I put my yo-yos about where they were, because I wanted to decorate. My idea had been doing some embroidery work, but I got so excited that I couldn't wait. And I said, well, I'm just going to see what I can do with the machine and see if I can get it to do what I want. And so I practiced. I drew vines with leaves on them. And then I went up and I also tried putting edging around each one of the yo-yos. And that looks cute. I think I'm going to try that on one of the next ones. And I'll show you what happened on my sample. And what I did, you have to think about the way tool you're going to use on your foot, you're going to use on your machine if you're going to do some stitching inside of there, because you want to make sure you've got enough room to maneuver. So in that, because I was doing this and I got excited and I said, I'm going to do this for y'all too. Then I said, well, I'm going to see what will fit in there. And what I found I had gotten from my sewing shop was a zipper foot. My machine came with one kind of zipper foot that you could not really move the foot in and make it tighter when you wanted to do it. And so when I called them, they said, I think I know what you want. And I got over there. Y'all, I just flew going home, because I now had something, because it's got the little wheel in there, and I can take and move it back and forth. And so I made this great pillow, their log cabin, and I put the piping around the outside. And I said, that's great. So I'll come back to that in a minute. But let's go back to this part. And I used my open-toed, I have myself today. I used the open toe that came with my machine. And this was just where a thimble had been set on the edge. And white really showed up nice. It's a cream color, but I was just using it for practice. And then I just made some with loops. Then I made some that decorated the yo-yo right there, and the leaves. And then I practiced with my vines. And I was really pleased with what I got. I hope that helps you to see that. And I said, okay, I think I can do this. I got this going. So I get rid of that. When I got so excited, I went and I ordered myself a roll of cording, which I'll use anyway, because I use almost everything, and found out I didn't need it. And here's the pillow that I came up with. And you can see with that cushion, it is nice. And I've got my stitching on there. So this is like a surprise quilted pillow. And it's got a nice decoration. And then I got to the binding part. And you lay everything out Here's my little pocket opening in the back. You can see I might need something to close that, but maybe not. And you lay it's just like a quilt. This is that first part that we did. And then I took and laid it down, and then I put the back piece with the pocket on it so I'd get it like I wanted it. And the pillow cushion wasn't in there then. So it was laying flat just like a quilt. And I took my binding and on this one I sewed the binding to the front. It made nice corners. And they're just nice little pointy. And they're not filled, and you could fill yours with something, but I think it just holds it right. Then I turned to the back, and I hand stitched it because I was really thinking about gifts for some people, little people that I know, and making them some special pillows. And instead of pinning it, I went back to these. It took me a long time to decide to use those little clamps, and so I used the clamps to hold it. And I ended up with my yo-yos rising up and becoming a quilt pillow. I hope you enjoyed that. If I forgot anything, it will be in the description. And thank you for watching. If you had fun, or if you've got a great idea, or you do some hand quilting, you can tell us about it. And please hit subscribe and like.